Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Perception Shifter, and in this video we're going to speak about mental breakdown. A lot of us do go through a mental breakdown at least once or twice within our life. Now, a mental breakdown is a very subjective thing where not all of us will be seeing it in the same way, and not all of us will be needing to handle it in the same way either. Now, whether that's ending a relationship or any stress towards work, any anxiety, any paranoia, any depression of any sort, for any reason, you would be going through a mental breakdown at that time. Anyone said something bad to you, anything that has occurred in a negative way in terms of your perception, you'd be going through a mental breakdown. So in this video, we're going to speak about on how you can handle a mental breakdown. And if this is you currently, then this video is for you. When we go through a mental breakdown, our brain kind of shuts down, if I tell you the truth. And it's not the same for everybody. Everyone is very different in many ways. Now, some people be able to handle their mental breakdowns. Some people might go through a bit of discomfort initially, and some people might tend to go through discomfort for a long period of time. Now, yes, it is dependent on yourself on how long you want to go through this mental breakdown and how long do you want to go through this discomfort. Now, we all run away from discomfort. Everybody seeks pleasure, and that's a natural thing to do as a human being. So when we are going through a mental breakdown, if we try and get busy in doing something else, if we try and pick up another hobby, try and defocus from the problem, if I tell you the truth, we are making the problem worse. We are not accepting what is going on, and we are just making it worse for us in terms of not dealing with the mental breakdown at the time. And if we don't deal with it at that time, it can become then emotional pain for our future, and it will always come up within our future. We can also tend to then start to take medication for our mental health, or we can start to suppress our emotional pain through any addiction. So before you do any of that, I just want to speak about how we can help ourselves when it comes to a mental breakdown. Now, when you do have a mental breakdown, no matter what happens, we need to face it. Okay? Now, I could understand when it's physical pain, that is very painful. But when it's mental pain, it's all running within our brain. Now, when we are going through this mental breakdown, we need to observe the pain within our mind. We need to sit with ourselves and let our mind do the processing, do the thinking, and let it then come out with a solution within our mind. We can also share this information to people. A lot of people do share their emotional pain or their emotional breakdowns, and yes, when we are sharing it, we are listening to ourselves, and you might even feel silly when you hear yourself out loud. But when you're saying it within your mind, you might not see how different it is when it's out there in the open and in the world. So you have your own mind and your own world in your own mind, and then you have the actual world within this world. So when these words do come out of your mouth, you start to see more clearly, and then you would even not be seeing it with the emotions that are in place. If we observe this pain, even though if we're doing it with ourselves on our own, and if we observe this pain when we are speaking with someone, then we'd be able to come to a solution at the end of our thinking or our speaking. So really what I'm trying to say is that we need to face it. If we don't face this emotional pain, it will get greater and worse. Now, we need to see on how much pain can this give to us. Now, the more we say we don't want the pain, obviously the more it's going to come at us, but then the more we let the pain, our intolerance level, go higher within this pain, then we will always be able to handle any sort of mental breakdown in the future. And if it's your first one, they're the hardest ones. But when we let that just be and not fight it and not become busy in other things, then you'll be able to face it. And when you face it, you'll be able to come to a resolution or a solution for this problem. Now, without a doubt, physical pain and mental pain are two different things. So when it comes to physical pain, when you're in pain at a physical level, that really hurts and you would need to seek medical help. But when it comes to mental pain, you don't always need to seek the medical help. If you can handle it with yourself, because it is different from person to person, then you'd be able to just let the brain do its work. But when we are not letting it do its work, and if we can't handle it, and it's depending on person to person, then do seek medication or professional help for you to feel better at that time. Yeah, so most of the time we can't handle a mental breakdown, and that is very natural. It's very natural for us not to handle it, because what has occurred currently within our life circumstance that's being placed upon us, our mind or our brain can't really handle it. Yes, it has got a lot to do with perception and how what we perceive, which is the most important for us in our life. But once we understand that a lot of stuff in our life isn't that important, and if we see that we need to start to break things down, so as in we need to keep a balance within our life, then if one drops, the other three are still there. So when we have our social life in place and we've lost someone from our social life, or when we have our physical life in place and we can't train, or we can't go to work anymore, or finances or something has occurred, and this is bringing stress within our life, or any sort of anxiety or depression, we start to feel that that's it, that's the end of our life. But then you do have the other pillars. You still do maybe have a social life, you still do have your mental health, or you still do have your physical health. But when one of these goes, we tend to drop everything else. So then our mental health starts going down, our social life starts going down, our finances starts going down. So when one is hit, we let everything be hit, because we don't accept what is going on and we don't face this one thing. But when we tend to face this one thing, we'd be able to rise back up, because we still have the other three in place. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll bring some more content out in more days to come. You have a great life.